You are probably planting your tomatoes on the wrong day. Not because you are doing anything wrong, but because nobody ever taught you that the moon has a schedule, and that schedule tells you exactly when your carrots, your tomatoes, and your lettuce will grow best. I am going to show you how to read it in the next 12 minutes, and by the end, you will never plant on the wrong day again. Here is the idea in one sentence. The moon is not just a light in the night sky. As it travels around the Earth, it passes in front of the 12 constellations of the zodiac, and each of those constellations belongs to one of 4 classical elements. Biodynamic growers believe those elements influence how a plant grows, and so they divide the calendar into 4 types of days, 1 per element: root days, leaf days, flower days, fruit days. That is the whole system, and once you see it, it is surprisingly simple. Let us start with the root day. Root days happen when the moon is passing through an earth sign, like Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. On a root day, the energy goes downward, into the soil. That makes it the perfect day to work with crops that grow underground: carrots, potatoes, onions, garlic, beets, radishes, turnips, parsnips. These are the plants that store their energy down in the ground, and the root day is when they respond best to sowing and harvesting. The second type is the leaf day. Leaf days occur when the moon passes through a water sign, like Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. Water energy is about growth, about lushness, about foliage. On a leaf day, you want to work with crops that you eat for their leaves: lettuce, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, cabbage, rocket, watercress, collard greens, and the leafy herbs. This is the day for anything that grows above ground and feeds you with green. The third type is the flower day. Flower days take place when the moon is in an air sign, like Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Air is about light, beauty, and bloom. On a flower day, the focus is on plants that you grow for their flowers: cut flowers, ornamentals. And here is the part that surprises a lot of people. Broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and artichokes are all flower crops, because the part you eat is the flower head or the bud. So this day is for fragrance, for color, and for those tricky cabbage family crops that you eat as buds. The fourth type is the fruit and seed day. These happen when the moon passes through a fire sign, like Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Fire is about energy and fruition, about the end result, the seed. On a fruit day, you work with crops that produce a fruit or a seed pod that you eat: tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, beans, peas, squash, zucchini, eggplant, pumpkins, courgette, and even the fruit trees in your orchard. This is the most important day of the 4 for most gardeners, because it covers the crops we love most, and it is the one everyone wants to get right. So far, this is just a system of 4 categories. But here is where it becomes genuinely useful. The moon calendar is not a set of vague suggestions. It is a practical schedule. You do not plant anything on any day. You match the crop to the day. When it is a root day, you sow your carrots and onions. When it is a leaf day, you seed your lettuce and kale. When it is a flower day, you transplant your broccoli. And when it is a fruit day, you get your tomatoes and peppers into the ground. And the rhythm is not random. The moon does not jump from one sign to the next. It moves through the zodiac in a steady rotation, spending roughly 2.5 days in each constellation. So a typical week might begin in a root sign, move to a flower sign, then to a leaf sign, then to a fruit sign, and then circle back to a root sign. You do not get a different day every morning. You get a different kind of day every 2.5 days, and that gives you time to actually plan your planting around it. There is a second layer that matters just as much when you move seedlings outdoors. That is the ascending and descending moon. When the moon is ascending, the energy is pulled upward, toward the sky and the leaves. When the moon is descending, the energy is pushed downward, into the roots. Descending moon periods are considered optimal for getting seedlings established, because the plant puts its energy into growing a strong root system, which is exactly what a young plant needs when it is moved outside. Ascending moon periods are often the days to avoid transplanting, because the plant is more likely to stress and focus its energy above ground instead of settling in. So the full picture is 2 systems working together. The sign of the zodiac tells you what kind of crop to work with. The movement of the moon tells you whether to sow above ground or focus on getting a young plant established. Together, they give you a precise daily blueprint for your garden. Beyond that, the calendar also tracks the moon phases themselves. The new moon, the waxing moon, the full moon, and the waning moon. Many growers use these as a broad rhythm. The waxing moon, growing bright, is traditionally associated with planting and growth. The waning moon, shrinking toward darkness, is associated with harvesting and reducing. And the full moon and new moon are the two big markers, the points where the cycle pivots. You do not need to memorize all of this at once. You just need to know that each day has a character, and the character tells you what to do. Now, you might be wondering, how do I actually know what kind of day today is? This is the part that used to be the hardest. You had to buy a printed calendar every year, flip through it, and find which constellation the moon was in and whether it was ascending or descending. That is a lot of work, and it is easy to get wrong. There are online calendars, but they are hard to read, and they often do not account for your specific location. Here is why this system is more relevant than ever. Your exact location matters more than you think. A moon calendar that is not adjusted for your region can be off by a day or more. Your climate, your frost dates, your hardiness zone, all of these change when you should plant. This is not a one-size-fits-all system, and that is exactly why it is so valuable when you get it right for where you actually live. Let me be honest about the science here. Mainstream science still debates the astronomical mechanisms behind these lunar effects. There are studies that show some correlation, and studies that show none. The mechanism is not settled, and I am not going to pretend it is. But here is the thing. For generations of growers, this calendar is not about proving a theory. It is about a working rhythm. It is a way to organize your garden, to make decisions with intention, and to feel connected to the cycles that have shaped farming long before industrial agriculture. Even if the science is still open, the practice has a value of its own. Let me show you what this looks like in a real week, so you can see it is not abstract. Imagine it is spring, and you have a handful of crops to get into the ground. On Monday and into Tuesday, the moon is in a root sign, so you sow your carrots and your onions. Then the moon moves on, and for a couple of days it passes through a flower sign, so you transplant your broccoli and cauliflower. After that comes a leaf day, and you seed your lettuce and plant out your kale. Then the moon shifts into a fruit sign, and this is the window you have been waiting for, because you have tomato seedlings that need to go in the ground. And if that week happens to include a descending moon period, that is the perfect time to move those young seedlings out, because the energy is going down into the roots, helping them settle in. That is a whole garden planned in a single week, and not a single vegetable was planted on the wrong kind of day. There are a couple of common mistakes that new gardeners make with the moon calendar, and I want to save you from them. The first is trying to jam everything into a fruit day because those are the crops you love most. Tomatoes and peppers are fantastic, but if you plant your carrots on a fruit day, they are not going to be happy. Each crop loves its own day. The second mistake is ignoring the ascending and descending moon when you transplant. You can have the perfect zodiac day, but if the moon is ascending and you move a fragile seedling, it is going to stress. Watch both, and you get the best of both worlds. The third mistake is thinking that one missed day ruins your whole garden. It does not. The calendar is a guide, not a straitjacket. You aim for the right day, and when life gets in the way, you plant the next day and move on. Perfection is not the goal. Consistency is. So the only thing standing between you and a moon-synced garden is knowing what day it is. You can dig through printed calendars every year, or you can let an app do the astronomy for you. Biocosmic is a biodynamic calendar for your phone, and it is free. It puts the moon's position in the zodiac on your screen, so you can see whether today is a root, leaf, flower, or fruit day at a glance. It also tracks the moon phases, the ascending and descending periods, and it adjusts your calendar to your exact location and frost dates, so you get the right days for where you actually garden. You will find Biocosmic on the Google Play Store. Just search for Biocosmic, or tap the link in the description below. That is the moon calendar. 4 types of days. 4 elements: root, leaf, flower, and fruit. Match the crop to the day, and you are gardening with a rhythm that is older than any bag of chemical fertilizer. If you got value out of this, hit that like button, and subscribe if you want to learn more about growing in rhythm with the moon. I put out a new video every couple of weeks. And if you are already using the moon calendar, tell me in the comments how it is going. I read every one. Thanks for watching.